What is going on, everybody? For those who don't know, I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Talk Podcast. We got a special guest. We did it week 1. We did it week 2. We took a little break, and maybe that's why the Eagles are struggling. They need this Saturday podcast to get their game on. I don't know. Can't really explain it, but we got Darius Dalton on here. Go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit more for those who don't know you.
What's up, guys? If those who don't know me, my name is Darius Dalton, Eagles maker. Been doing this song for about 5 years now. Five, 6 soft years, I guess you could go ahead and say. Back on here once again. We did talk birds for several weeks, but took what was on a bit of a hiatus. But look, we're back at it. More bird talk. A lot to obviously talk about right now.
That is true. That is true. We got the 1-3-1 Eagles taking on the 4-1 Baltimore Ravens, and it's going to be the first game at the Link with fans. I think they said 15%, so about 7,500 fans will be in the stands. How big of an impact do you think that's going to be for this team to just get some type of crowd in there to get them out, possibly get them off the field on third down?
The positive it would be is that now they could go ahead and hear us boo them and start holding them accountable for their actions and for their terrible play out there on that football field. So I feel like this is Jeffrey Lurie's way of saying, you know what, we're going to start letting you guys know about your poor performances. Start losing some more. You're going to be hearing these boos, and I'll start inviting more and more fans to come in. But no, in all honesty, though, absolutely, I think it still makes it. I think it makes a solid impact. Obviously, not filling up the stadium, not up to 70,000, but to get that kind of atmosphere in there where you're going to be hearing cheers and boos from actual fans and see actual reactions, you're always going to thrive off that, regardless of whatever sport you play, regardless of whatever entertainer you are. You always thrive off of people just coming there, watching you perform and react to whatever you do out there on the football field.
Definitely. You heard some of the NBA players talk about how it's going to be weird with no fans. You would think it's even more weird in a sport like football, especially on the defense side of the ball, where you can use that crowd noise to frustrate the offense. A big third down, you get a sack. That's how you get the momentum. Football's all about momentum. You can see a team be dead in the water. First 2 quarters haven't scored anything. They get a drive before halftime. They come out of halftime with the momentum on their side and just take it over. So momentum is huge in football, and that's what we're going to need if we try to upset the Baltimore Ravens, who, like I said, are 4-1 and are not 4-1 by mistake. This team is very solid on the defensive side and the offensive side. What are you looking forward to the Eagles doing to possibly slow down L-Jack?
It's gonna have to be a big game for Josh Sweat. It's gonna have to be a big game for Brandon Graham. It's gonna have to be a big game for Derek Barnett. I know we activated Vinny Curry as well, so if he's gonna be stepping in, getting some playing time as well, he needs to step in, and we have to contain Lamar Jackson, contain him in the pocket, and try to force him to beat us with his arm. Plain and simple. Period. We know that the Ravens, they love their run game. That's their bread and butter. That's what gets them going. Lamar Jackson's legs as well, and you got that running back tandem with Gus Edwards, the Mark Ingrams, the J.K. Dobbins. They're going to want to get that running game established. So if they do their research and perhaps go how the Rams performed against us, where they just forced that run down our throats and eventually just started to wear and tear our defense, they're going to have a field day. So it's just going to be a matter of us on our D-line on how we're going to be able to respond. We're a lot more healthier than we were back in week 2 when we faced against the Rams. So it's going to come down to the trenches. Got to stop that running game and then try to force Lamar Jackson to beat us through the air. And then that's where the game is perhaps up for grabs, if you were to ask me.
Hey, I agree, and we got both type of Eagle fans in here. Right now, we got 59 people in here. If you haven't done it already, smash that like button. It's Saturday in the West Coast. It's 2 o'clock. On the East Coast, it's 5 o'clock. Hit that like button if you support the podcast and just love the birds. It's free. It's easy. Go ahead and hit that like button. But we got 2 type of fans in here. We got the fans who are, optimistic about possibly getting an upset, and then we got guys like Bubba 0224 who's just gonna let the reality hit, I guess, to him and said Eagles ain't got a shot at winning this game. Our defense is going to have a really long day. I mean, look, let's be honest. If we put the defense out there the same way we did against the Ravens, the Rams, and or the Steelers, it's going to be a long day. If we turn the ball over, they might drop 50 on us because this team is going to try to put up 20 to 30 points. And if we give them the ball, short fields and stuff like that, they're going to really let us have it. I mean, like I said, L-Jack, you want him to pass the ball, but, there's games where his passing game is on. He's going to try to use the tight ends. Hey, Devin Duvernay, I liked him before the draft. He's solid, a great guy in the slot. You saw, for those who watched my Eagles versus Ravens breakdown, I broke down just one play on offense and one play on defense. The Ravens can use that lineup all the time because they pass out of it. They run out of it with both Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins and Lamar Jackson, and they do all this stuff with it. And as we all know, the wide receiver reverses, the jet sweeps been killing us. Jim Schwartz tried to play it off like, well, the Rams really the only one who got us with it. No, every single team but the Washington football team got us with it. Brendan Ayuk had like a 50-yard touchdown. The Steelers had a 65-yard gain, and there was no huge game against the Rams, but they had chunk plays because of how quick our defensive ends and linebackers and the whole D-line tries to get up to stop the run. We don't play disciplined football. They try to do too much, and if we do that against the Ravens, it's going to be a scary one. Philly Fresh in the building said, yo, that. I did hear from a little bird that Philly Fresh will be going live today. So those who are not subscribed to my guy, Philly Fresh, sub his channel up and definitely come through and holla at him when he goes live. We got the Battle Birds podcast for tomorrow, and that's what we're doing. So, Darius, if we start 1-4, 1-4-1, saying we do lose this game, if we lose this game, how do you feel? How would you feel about that, knowing that we do have the Giants, Cowboys, bye week, and then Giants again? Do you think we could rebound with them 3 games, or are you still saying that if we lose this, 1-4-1 is not good at all, of course?
I've already been flirting with this the last several weeks in my channel, and those of you guys who are in the chat right now that are subscribed, really do appreciate it. But we've been talking about it already the last several weeks. Obviously, we do have the advantage of being at home. That's one thing. That's one big thing about these next 6 weeks. And it started with Pittsburgh last week. We're local. We went just to Pittsburgh, still in Pennsylvania. We're going to be 3 straight home games, and then a bye week, and then we're going to the Meadowlands after the bye week. So we're going to be local. So that is a huge advantage when it comes to our schedule and traveling for the Philadelphia Eagles to get caught up. However, it's not going to fool me whatsoever. Sure, we'll be in the division race, but in my opinion, we start off 1-4-1, start preparing. I really am starting to like the idea of becoming sellers at the deadline where we can go ahead and start clearing up the cap situation that we're in. I feel like right now we are in the Seattle Seahawks situation where they won the Super Bowl. Sure, they had some successful years shortly after, but they were slowly on the decline because all their older players that they latched onto after they won the Super Bowl, signed them to those contracts. Once they became relevant like they are right now, and it started just several years back, and they slowly got themselves going to the point where they are now a Super Bowl team again, is because they had to purge and really let go a lot of guys. I helped them win that Super Bowl and let go a lot of those contracts. So I am starting to flirt with the idea of becoming sellers. So we lose tomorrow. We're 1-4-1. And regardless, let's just even say we have this upset as well. There's going to be some contracts. There's going to be some guys that I do think that we should just put out there on the deadline. I do think that we could respond really well against the Giants. Giants are not good at all. I mean, obviously we can't overlook anybody, but I expect the Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz, I still expect that duo to still be able to pull off wins against those kind of teams. And then the Dallas Cowboys, I'm not going to really overlook them. I do think that Andy Dalton could be an efficient quarterback. However, it's still a more favorable game now without Dak Prescott. So yes, we could clearly win 3 in a row, but it's not going to fool me in the big picture where I would still want to be sellers at the deadline and start looking to get rid of some of these big contracts and see if we could bring in some draft picks or some younger guys, some younger players that might be playing for a next contract or whatever that's under that rookie contract.
Well, then I got to put you on the spot. If you think you want we should be sellers, give me your top 3 seller. Who are you going to sell? Your top 3 sell candidates, I'm trying to say, since we want to be sellers. Go ahead and get that out of the way.
All right, so my top 3 sellers. I mean, it's going to start off, shout out to Cool Eagle right now, Ertz. It's going to start off with Zach Ertz. And look, we were talking about it, man. We were going back and forth about, how I wanted to keep Zach Ertz and how he should earn that next contract. But, he's just been out of it. He's just been tuned out. You're talking about one of our most reliable targets for, multiple years at this point in time, and we're now coming down to this contract situation. I mean, sure, we could say, well, teams are starting to go ahead and key in on Zach Ertz, which is why guys like Travis Fulgham, you start seeing guys like Greg Ward going out there making some plays now. However, nonetheless, at the end of the day, I mean, Zach Ertz, like I said, he's been a go-to target, and you're literally seeing it out there on the football field. You're literally looking at it throughout the screen where he ain't running like he used to. He ain't really, you don't see him really looking like that Zach Ertz that we're used to seeing. And being 30 years old, knowing that you're not the the Travis Kelce or the George Kittle, now you're just going to start reconsidering. We have a young tight end that's going to get healthy. Hopefully Dallas Goedert is back within the next few weeks. If not, maybe after the bye week. Great. And then obviously I think investing in 2 tight ends might be a bit much for this organization, and maybe we should not really prioritize ourselves in investing in 2 tight ends. There's a lot of teams that are just successful with just 1 tight end, and someone comes in, does a job. If they go down, someone else will come in and just still play that role. I think investing in 2 tight ends just might be a bit much. We tried out this experiment. It's not really looking as dynamic with our offense. So I'll start off with Zach Ertz. It's going to be tough for me to say, and probably a lot of people are going to disagree in the chat when I say this about Fletcher Cox. He's getting paid Aaron Donald money. He's getting paid Aaron Donald money. They both play the same position, and we give Fletcher Cox an excuse. Well, he's getting double teamed. He opens up lanes for somebody else to come through. But I'm looking at Aaron Donald, and I'm looking at the contracts in particular. Okay, I'm looking at the contracts in particular. Aaron Donald, $25 million this year. Fletcher Cox getting paid $23.8 million. So about $1 million less. Just over $1 million less than Aaron Donald. And we're seeing Aaron Donald, who just racked up 4 sacks last week. You know what I mean? There's games where we don't know. There's games where we don't hear about Fletcher Cox whatsoever. These are names, again, that it's going to be hard to let go. But at the end of the day, eventually that time is up. We had to let go Brian Dawkins at some point, right? We had to let go Jeremiah Trotter at some point. We had to let go a lot of names that we've grown and love here in Philadelphia. Fletcher Cox would be another one. He would be another one. You look at Javon Hargrave. He's continuing to get better each week. I thought that he had a really good game. I figured he would have a good game last week because it was a Steelers homecoming game for him. But you want to still observe the development in Javon Hargrave, see if we could lock him, see if, all right, that could be a good, solid pickup that really could fill in that Fletcher Cox void. And then last but not least, one of these wide receivers, Deshaun or Alshon, one of those two. One of those two, go. One of those two can dip, but I don't know if a team will even invest at that point in time when they're not even playing right now.
Yeah, I agree. They both got to go. But here's the thing. I think the end result is that both Alshon and Deshaun will be on the roster until the end of this season. And once the end of the season comes, we need to get rid of them. Hey, I'm not saying we're keeping them on the roster because I want them. But as you said, sellers, you got to have trade partners. And Zach Ertz, we can make a case for it. Fletcher Cox, because look, Zach Ertz looks bad, but another coach knows they can get Zach Ertz back to where he was. You don't just fall off the cliff that much as a tight end. You've seen tight ends play deep into their career. So I think it's just the fact that right now the Eagles don't got wide receivers that can get Zach Ertz freed up. And at the end of the day, they throw their best corner or best defensive player on Zach Ertz. He's getting frustrated. And if you watch that Steelers game, where he played particularly bad, we kept him in blocking a lot. So he's not even getting to run the normal routes that Zach Ertz really would run. So there's a lot of things that go into that. But Alshon and Deshaun, who's going to trade from? Will they even be healthy by the deadline? Like, we might not even see them play by the deadline. We know day to day, week to week for Eagles is next year. We see next year. If you end up on an injury report with day to day or week to week, you're not playing no more. Simple and plain. So I think we have to release them. Listen, Deshaun Jackson or Alshon Jeffrey could come in this week or this year sometime and ball out. But still, I don't care how good they play. They're off the team at the end of this year, regardless. Saving us money, and we just got to stop it. It's time. It's definitely time. To your Fletcher Cox point, I agree. He's not playing nowhere near the level of Aaron Donald. I always said this. Aaron Donald is the ultimate D tackle because of his pass rush and run defense. But if you just want a great run defense, I think Fletcher Cox is better than Aaron Donald in run defense. But here's the reason why Aaron Donald's so good. Aaron Donald's pass rush is probably an A, and his run defense is like a B+, to where Cox's pass rush is like a C or a D+, and his run defense is an A. So the gap at pass rush should be the gap in money. And I do agree there. And if, he's only going to get older, he's only going to require to take a lot of our cap. That might be one that the Eagle fans don't like. But at the end of the season, or possibly if we're sitting at 1 or 2 wins by the deadline, we're definitely going to be sellers, no matter how bad we don't want to, get rid of some of these guys. It is what it is. And this starts with, Howie might get rid of these guys, and then Jeff Lurie might get rid of Howie at the end of the year too. So I don't see any coaches going midway to season. I know we don't like Schwartz. I know we don't like Howie, and he's not a coach, but any upper management guys. I see Jeff Lurie making a decision at the end of the year. No matter how bad Jim Schwartz is or Howie Roseman is the rest of the season, I don't see Jeff Lurie being a guy who cuts them mid-season. I think we're going to wait until the end no matter what. And that also has to do with how much we sell or buy. But would you be interested in buying if we go on? We beat the Ravens, you beat the Cowboys, Giants, go to bye week, come out, beat the Giants again, and we're sitting at 5-3-1. Would you consider buying then? Or are you still like, listen, it is what it is, we got to sell out?
I got to see I got to see some consistent football, not necessarily San Francisco 49er wins. That was a win where I honestly, for me personally as a fan, I did not care because I was just desperate for a win at that point in time. So I was like, a win was a win. I'm going to take it as it is. Regardless, though, we know that game was a bit of a, throughout the whole, we were going into the fourth quarter with only 11 points on the board. So we really took over at the end in that fourth quarter. But I got to see some convincing wins. I got to see a, dogfight tomorrow against the Ravens for us to pull out. And then when it comes to playing against the Giants, you showcase on how bad the Giants are. You take advantage of the Cowboys, not having Dak Prescott, and you start pressuring Andy Dalton. You really got to stand out in these wins in order for me to really be convinced. Okay, you know what? Maybe the Eagles they just needed the first 4 games like a preseason to really get into rhythm. Again, I mean, we could kind of say that for last week because the offense, they put up such a great performance, great display by the offense last week against a top-notch defense in Pittsburgh that I was thinking to myself as well. I was like, you know what? Maybe it was like a preseason, the first 4 games, but nonetheless, though, then I see over on the defensive side where we now have our struggles, and it's so inconsistent because we're talking about we're number 1 in the league in sacks before the Steelers game, and our defense is starting to come alive, and then now we play against the second efficient offense where the Rams, Haskins did not look good against us. Washington football team offense in particular did not look that good against us. Rams did, though, with McVay and Goff. Bengals, Joe Burrow's on pace to get sacked for over 70 times. The Ravens had 7 sacks on him last week. We had 8 sacks on Joe Burrow. So I'm kind of pushing more towards on how bad the Bengals offensive line was. Mm-hmm. And then obviously with the Niners, it was their backup. So I'm looking in 2 particular games on our defensive side to see, well, we're playing against Mike Tomlin, Big Ben, more established offense in Pittsburgh, McVay, Goff, more established offense in LA. Those are the 2 games that I'm right now pointing out, not against teams where we should have been, taking care of them on the defensive side. And this will be another game where I'm going to really observe the defense. This is another game. Lamar Jackson, that offense, John Harbaugh, that offense, it's going to be where I'm going to observe that defense. And if they continue to struggle, if this has to be another shootout that we have to go ahead and put head-to-head against the Ravens, that says enough for me. That says enough for me at this point in time that this style won't last throughout the year. And regardless if we win, take advantage of a quote unquote easy stretch, it's the Eagles, so I can't say anything's an easy stretch now at this point. But if we take advantage of this easy stretch, I feel like I still would not be convinced that this team will be able to go up and make the old, the big time run that we all want to see, obviously, from our team, the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. And I like I know you were probably the only one that really came out with them type of videos about, the Super Bowl window being closed. And you're right in the sense of, the Eagles traditionally had to be a powerhouse to get it. Like, we're not that team that sneaks into the wild card. Although Michael Vick's Eagles in 2010, I believe it was, when we made the I don't think we were the wild card team, but we were We had to play in the wild card game against the Green Bay Packers, who were the wild card team, but we weren't a powerhouse when it came to our record. Man, I said it. I wasn't doing YouTube at that time, of course, but I said to everybody who would listen to me that the winner of this game is going to the Super Bowl and probably winning it. I like the Packers, who came on strong at the end of the season, and the Eagles. And we were 4 points away. A Mike Vick interception to Tramon Williams when trying to throw to Riley Cooper. And then the Packers went ahead and won the Super Bowl. I really was shouting at the top of my lungs that whoever wins this game is going to win the whole thing. And
we gave them their toughest challenge, if you think about it, because I think they blew out Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler gave up in the NFC Championship game. They blew out Atlanta the following week after they beat us, and then Pittsburgh was playing catch up the whole entire Super Bowl against. So we honestly gave them their toughest challenge that whole entire playoff run. I remember that.
Yeah, and I would have loved that for my guy Mike Vick. But yeah, I agree. Normally you want to get the bye week. It's going to be harder to get the bye week now. One, because we're not winning games, and two, because there's only one per conference. But I mean, the playoffs should be, we're going to have a harder chance to make the playoff as a wild card than a division leader. That's how bad our division is. Yeah. And people say, why would you want to win a division like that? Well, because I got a quarterback who's never played in a playoff game. So I don't care if we just slip in and we get, we're not supposed to be there. At the end of the day, Carson Wentz playoff experience wouldn't matter to me. And so we got the people who really think Carson Wentz's time in Philly is done. That's a definitely wait and see process. Here's my take on it. It's a huge organizational decision. Nothing can be made this year. I don't see him benching him at all. I did watch one of your videos where you said about benching him at halftime if he can continue to play bad. That's different. Benching him at halftime is different than actually benching him before the season, before the game.
Yeah, I felt like, obviously we all know as Eagles fans, in a year where one of my favorite years as a fan, 2008 season, and we benched Donovan McNabb at halftime, and he responded back. He woke up. You know what I mean? Right now we have Carson Wentz, unfortunately leading the league in interception and whatnot. And I felt like before the Niners game, if he was to continue to struggle, you bench him by like halftime during the game and just let Jalen Hurts finish it out, regardless on how he plays. I remember we benched, McNabb for Kevin Cobb, and Cobb blew it, and it ended up being a blowout loss by the Ravens, which is a big coincidence because we play against them this week. But nonetheless, though, it was just a big enough message to send McNabb, hey, look, this inconsistent performance is not going to work regardless on how much money we're paying you, regardless of that you're the face of the franchise. We're going to hold you accountable. And McNabb went on one of the best runs that he had as an Eagle, going all the way to the NFC Championship game. And we were literally a Kevin Curtis pass interference away from perhaps going to the Super Bowl that year. So I felt like this would have to be the same message you're going to have to send Carson Wentz. Not saying we're taking your job away. It's now Jalen Hurts. He's going to be the quarterback now for the rest of the season. It's more so Carson Wentz, get your together so we can get this thing going. However, I pulled back on that, just seeing Carson Wentz's performance the last several weeks, seeing the emergence of Travis Fulgham as well. Greg Ward continues to make himself known, catching a touchdown pass last week as well. I'm really, really liking the emergence of these young guys and the rhythm that they're getting with Carson Wentz. So if that's a chemistry that they're getting with this young receiving core, that we now have a promising receiving core in the future, I'm going to pull back on that. I would rather see Carson Wentz continue to develop with those guys, especially Travis Fulgham, and for sure when Jalen Reagor comes back.
Hey, I agree 100%. I've never been a bench Carson guy or anything along that line. However, I did come out in the mid. There's no denying it. He played horrible in the first 3 games of the season. And quite frankly, if he played to a C+ level, we probably beat the Washington Footballers and we beat the Cincinnati Bengals. So at the end of the day, these were 2 wins that we still wouldn't feel good about we still wouldn't feel that great about our team, but 3-2 is a lot better than 1-3-1. But I will say this, like Drew Johnson said, look, my attitude is if I'm going to take an L, I'm going down swinging, not into tank mode. I agree 100%. And Carson Wentz has played better these last 2 games, 100%. And for Travis Fulgham, I mean, there's a lot of nicknames out there for him. Travis Full Grown, Full God, a bunch of them. But hey, I like to
call him Travief.
Travief. I keep it real simple. I got that TF13. It just sounds like a well-oiled machine. And again, it's simple like his game. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the strongest guy, but he gets the job done. So I like something short, sweet, and simple. TF13, that's my guy. And I think I'm doing a giveaway very soon, so stay tuned. Make sure you have post notifications turned on. Don't want you to miss out that. We're going to have to give away that TF13 jersey soon. I'm going to have to get two, though, one for myself.
Hey, there you go. Make sure you guys tune in for that one, man, because I would want to go ahead and get myself. I'm literally one more game away from getting a Travis Fulgham jersey. If he even gets a touchdown this game and that's his only catch, I'm like, yep, I'm sold. I'm sold. But I do think that we'll probably start seeing some better Carson Wentz. Again, I felt like this was the lowest he could possibly play as a quarterback the first 3 weeks. And obviously seeing what we've seen the last 2 weeks, utilizing his legs a little bit more, it does really make me like, hold me back a bit, just because obviously there's nothing really good that comes out when Carson Wentz, like, eventually to his body is what I'm talking about, is when he runs and gets tackled, and something could obviously happen during that time. And it's one of those things where now we have no choice but to really rely on that. So it's going to be a huge gamble that we're going to have to take. How about, like, do you think that that's just something that we're just going to have to stick with? Because I don't always like, if a quarterback is not necessarily a traditional running quarterback, like a Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, kind of those guys that, that could just tuck and run, or even a Jalen Hurts, you know what I mean? Even though they're mobile, I don't want them to solely start relying on that as well. And I don't think Carson Wentz, he's not a pure scrambling quarterback. He's a mobile quarterback. But I feel like if we're going to rely on his scrambling abilities a lot more, that could really set up for a possible unfortunate situation that, I don't think that he can afford to happen to him, especially with this year, another year where we want to see him make that playoff push, So I don't know. How about that? Like, do you think that we're still stick with run Carson run, or what?
Oh, yeah, you got to let him be him. Listen, Carson Wentz, even in 2017, where he was, doing MVP type things, he was never the most accurate quarterback. He had a 60-something% completion rating, which is pretty good. He missed high, he missed low, but what Carson did was create. That's what is in his arsenal, is to be able to create. We saw against San Francisco when he rolled out, avoided 2 sacks, and threw the ball 25 yards to Boston Scott. Not many quarterbacks can do that. It's creating something out of nothing. Look against the Pittsburgh Steelers when they blitzed 3 guys and they pretty much wrapped up Carson Wentz. It was in my Tuesday video where I broke down some tape. Actually, it was Wednesday, because this whole week I've been a day behind, to be honest. But Carson Wentz ducks under a sack that should have been. He had him in 2 hands. He had both hands on him, ducks underneath it. The receivers, TF13 and Zach Ertz, both, realize that he's in trouble, change their routes, and he gets a completion. So we got to see that. And so when people say that Carson Wentz should throw the ball way more, of course, it's a thing he's going to struggle with all the time, because there is them plays that he breaks the sack and we get a 20-yard completion. So he just got to learn when to throw it away and when not to. And it depends on where you are on the field. If it's third down, you're not going to throw it away. Of course, it does not matter, because you're going to punt anyways. And I think the first 3 weeks, you really saw him scale back that creating, scale back the running out of the pocket. And listen, if we have a Carson Wentz who's playing that bad, or an injured Carson Wentz, they're the same thing. So you got to let Carson be Carson, hope for the best. Like I said, once he breaks the pocket, he has to be smart. Is 2 yards worth an injury? No. Get what you can get. Learn to slide. I know he's a tough guy. You've seen him blocking and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, he got to take care of his health. And I wanted to hit this question because this is a good one real quick. It says, Mike and Darius, if you could bring anyone back from injury tomorrow, who would it be? Who would you bring back?
Oh, an current injured player right now, it would have to be, honestly, it would have to be Brandon Brooks. It would just have to be Brandon. I want to say Jalen Reagor as much as I want to possibly can. Like, I really do want to just say Jalen Reagor, but Brandon Brooks, just because of our overall record and performance without him. San Francisco was our first win without Brandon Brooks, when Brandon Brooks plays 50% or less snaps. And this is during his whole entire tenure as a Philadelphia Eagle. Every time he misses games, every time he misses significant time, we're always losing. So if I realize that there's someone that's literally impacting the win-loss column like Brandon Brooks is, then I would absolutely bring him back, because that means, 1, that would be able to add more wins to our record, and 2, obviously he's an elite guard, and we would need, when you're an elite guard, he's pretty much what you could say him and Zach Martin from the Cowboys are neck and neck for the best right guards in the NFL. You're adding that force. You're adding that also one of the best run blockers as well. So you're going to utilize more of that running game that we tend to go ahead and go ghost on. That's more yards for Miles Sanders as well. That probably makes Boston Scott and Corey Clement look a little bit better than what they're looking like right now. Brandon Brooks, 100%. How about you?
Hey, I definitely will co-sign that, but because you took it, I'll probably just let's go with Dallas Goedert. He was a spark. He was a spark. Again, I would pick Brandon Brooks if I was going first, but I don't want to just pick the same one for the sake of the podcast.
I respect it.
Dallas Goedert, what he can do in the run game with blocking is so underrated. He's a better blocker than Zach Ertz. He's the more explosive tight end at this point. So I would definitely like that. But real quick to the people in the chat that's talking about this young wide receiver core, it is going to be something. Think about this. Just say this year's kind of over. You get the experience for TF13. Say he continues on this streak. Imagine we go ahead and sever ties with Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey, get some money back. It's the same if they're on the roster, just not playing, so we can save money. Imagine this. You got Carson Wentz under center, a healthy offensive line, which is going to increase Miles Sanders' run value because I think he could be an every down back. I'm not saying I wouldn't want someone to compliment him, but I do believe he can do it. So you got Carson Wentz under center with a healthy offensive line, some nicks and knacks, injuries, blah, blah. But imagine you got TF13 at the X position, Jalen Reagor at the Y position, Dallas Goedert as your tight end, and Greg Ward Jr., who I think is a terrific slot receiver because of the way he just fits in between the defense. And once you have all that out there, he's going to get the least amount of coverage. He's going to be drawing linebackers and safeties, and he can do it. His route running has gotten better since he's came in as a quarterback. So imagine that. You got Jalen Reagor, TF13, Greg Ward, Dallas Goedert, healthy O-line, Carson Wentz, and Miles Sanders. The future is bright. We didn't even realize it, but it just came together. The thing is, the only way the future gets bright is if we can just find a antidote for these injuries. Simple and plain.
Nah, 100%. It's one of those things where you are seeing something promise. And I feel like right now at this point in time, Greg Ward has established himself to be that guy. I think he's that Jason Avant for us where he's never going to be the top receiver for us. However, he's going to be one of the most reliable receivers. I love what he does. He runs his route hard. He does the fundamentals right. He does the fundamentals properly. Jalen Reagor, he's going to be that playmaker receiver that we need. The one that's going to break out for that 55-yard gain that we saw, week one, the 60-yard touchdown bombs that we'll see, throughout the year, throughout the season. And then if Travis Fulgham, he could just be that established dominant number one wide receiver that you will see throughout all the NFL teams that have that dominant established number one wide receiver. He could just be that go-to guy for us. So you have different style of wide receivers with your wide receiver trio, and then you obviously have the Dallas Goedert to tear up the linebackers, to tear up the middle of the field as well, and then guys like Miles Sanders to dump off to. The way we're waiting now for two other guys to get healthy, get right. Hopefully we can see Reagor and Dallas Goedert join the team. I'm personally, just because it's the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm just going to really just say after the bye week, just to be safe. I know that they are on IR and they've been on IR now for several weeks at this point in time, but I'm just going to go ahead and just probably give it the bye week, and hopefully after the bye week we can start seeing everybody out there. And then that's where it's going to get interesting, though, because we know that Alshon and Deshaun, they're probably going to be back at that point in time, and that's where it's just going to be. That's just where it's going to be on Howie Roseman now. Howie Roseman, his loyalty to these players, the Vinny Currys, the Corey Clements, the Jason Peters, these guys that should not be here anymore, the Deshaun Jacksons, these guys that we've been sticking with for a long time because they've done so many great things with this organization. That's where Howie Roseman really needs to send that message to us that, you know what, I've latched on to these players for too long. Let's continue with this right now. Let's continue to see what we got. And I think this is also for Howie Roseman's future. For Howie Roseman's future, listen, if you want to go ahead and stay with this organization, then you stick. Now that we find out that you're the one that activate these guys on the roster and whatnot, so you stick with this youth movement. You could prove to everybody now, hey, look, I still gave you guys Travis Fulgham. I gave you guys Greg Ward. I gave you guys Jalen Reagor. I gave you guys Dallas Goedert. I gave you guys Miles Sanders. Bam. How much better you're looking now, Howie Roseman? How much the more credible you are now with these guys out there performing. But if you want to go back to these players because, you know, you're so attached to them, and with the Deshaun Jacksons and Alshon, and we're starting to see back, you know, an inconsistent Carson Wentz again, and, you know, wasting some talent that we have on the bench, then that's obviously going to be the message for all of us that, hey, look, you got to go. But if you want to redeem yourself, Howie Roseman, you make that move, you might have to literally not make one of those two guys inactive, and then you really want to try to force the Fulgham, the Ward, the Rager, the Dallas Goederts really pushing it the next second half of the season and see what we got out of them.
Hey, I agree. That's the only way he could possibly save his job. I don't know if that's going to be enough. But yeah, man, we got to stick with the youth movement. No way, no how. When Deshaun and Alshon are healthy, they should take snaps from TF13. They could come on the field, but not take away snaps from him. And I agree. The way the Eagles are set up, just wait until after the bye. Win or lose this game, the next 3 games are the Giants, Cowboys, Giants, and we got the Giants after the bye. So no need to rush these guys back for the Giants and Cowboys. I mean, we could possibly lose one of them games because at the end of the day, the Eagles are very inconsistent. Do I believe we will? No, because what I've seen against the Pittsburgh Steelers, what I've seen throughout this season is sparks, little pieces that if you put it together, this team could be a pretty good football team, you know, get the job done. But we don't see it for 4 quarters. We see it for a quarter and a half, 2 quarters, this, that, and the third, and we haven't been taking care of the ball. But Jalen Williams, channel member, shout out to you, my guy. He says, serious question. Has Maddox or Sweat done enough for an extension this all season? I know we don't have cap. Is Maddox has been on the Eagles for 4 years already now? I thought
2018. I think 2018 was his rookie year. Correct me if I'm wrong. 2018 was his rookie year. This is his 3rd season.
That's kind of what I thought. Right now, Maddox has not, but he hasn't been given the opportunity where he should actually play. He's a slot corner. we put him at safety. We put him at outside corner. He's really a slot corner. But here's the thing: the Eagles got a bunch of slot corners. Crevion LeBlanc, a slot corner. Nikel Roby-Coleman is a nickel corner. It's in his name. His mother forced him to be a nickel cornerback. You know what I mean? When she named him. Avonte Maddox is. So these guys, us forcing them to play on the outside is making them look worse. I did see someone in the comment section say, who would you start opposite of Darius Slay? Right now, the only guy we got is good old Jalen Mills, because Trevor Williams is on IR. Avonte Maddox is on IR. And I like Strap, but he can't do it outside. He's not big enough. Once in a while he can, but he's just not going to be able to get it done constantly. And well, you guys are like, well, Jalen Mills can't get it done either, but at least he matches up better in the sense of that. So I think it's a problem. And thank God Darius Slay got past concussion protocol, because we'd be hurting if he wasn't playing.
I really like that question. Shout out to Jalen Williams. You know what? This goes down to this is where I feel like it goes back to Jim Schwartz. We've seen now Rasul Douglas is looking like a top 10 outside cornerback now. We've seen Sidney Jones. He had the best game of his NFL career with Jacksonville last week. It's starting to and even Ronald Darby, after the first several weeks of having some moments where he got burned, Ronald Darby is now responding back in Washington the last several weeks as well. So now this goes back down to Jim Schwartz and my guy. How are these guys now performing that was in your secondary that couldn't develop in your system? And now what? Avonte Maddox has taken a step back into your system. It's one of those things where I feel like with Jim Schwartz, we don't develop players. Everybody is either off of free agency or everybody has been here before. Josh Sweat, you know, I feel like Josh Sweat is now establishing himself, but we're finally starting to see Derek Barnett. We're starting to finally see Derek Barnett, you know, making his name now known in Philadelphia and trying to earn that first-round pick that we selected him 4 years ago. But everybody else, Malik Jackson from somewhere else, Javon Hargrave from somewhere else, Fletcher Cox was already here before Jim, Brandon Graham was already here before Jim, Darius Slay, Jalen Mills, I felt like he started off with a promising start to his career, but then he started to take a step back to the point where we had to switch him to becoming a safety and a hybrid. Rodney McLeod else. So I look back at Jim Schwartz now when it comes to the Avonte Maddox situation, and if you are Jeffrey Lurie, if you're Howie Roseman for sure, instance, because Howie and Schwartz are going after and going at it about the whole linebacker situation, which Howie Roseman gave Jim Schwartz LJ Fort. Or is it LT Fort or LJ Fort? I thought
Okay.
LJ Fort. I keep saying LT for some reason. But Howie, now look what we're going up against LJ Fort this upcoming week. It's just like, and Nathan Gary significantly regressed. Literally, I remember last year we saw a highlight of him having a pick 6, and now look, he's one of the worst linebackers this year. We're not seeing Davion Taylor, who's a third round.
He led our team in picks with 2 last year.
Dang, leading our team with 2. That's the thing too, and we don't create turnovers. Bam, right there. Great point right there. To lead a team in interceptions when you only just had 2 interceptions, that even points out more about Jim Schwartz's system, his scheme. It doesn't force any turnovers, and it doesn't develop any players. Again, Davion Taylor. We're still waiting for Sean Bradley. Sean Bradley played 4 defensive snaps. He made 1 impactful play in the goal line, and I'm like, there's Sean Bradley. Where can I see him? But no. Go back out there. We need to put Nathan Gary out there. It's hard. It's hard for me to have faith in our young defensive players because I know that they're not in a system that is allowing them to progress.
Hey, I agree 100%. Bubba said, I got a question. All right. If we do trade Ertz, would you want a player or picks? At this point, because of our money situation, if we got a player, then it would probably be hard to sign that guy if he's not already signed or take on his contract. But as long as we got Howie Roseman and them guys, is a draft pick really worth it? Are we going to hit? So it's tough. I think, and someone said something in the comment sections earlier. I forgot who said it, but they were like, Jeff Lurie and Howie are too close. They don't see him firing Howie, but they can see him taking away responsibility when it comes to scouting and stuff like they did under the Chip Kelly era, which will be good because, listen, at the end of the day, when it comes to making trades, we haven't seen it in the last couple of years, but trades and contracts, how he can still get it done like that. He's going to have his handful if he's still here with the restructuring and stuff because we were already in cap trouble, but now the salary is going to go from like 200 million to like 170 million just from COVID. So teams who were in trouble are in double trouble now. And again, Howie got to get his nose out of game day talk, out of scouting for picks. He got to get his head out of all that stuff. But I wouldn't be mad if he stayed on the books for the books. That's what he would need to do. Let him be our accountant, the cap guy, the number guy. But the football guy, no. We need to bring somebody in here to be the football guy. We used to say, Joe Douglas don't know what he's doing, because Joe Douglas was the scapegoat for Howie. Now we realize it wasn't Joe Douglas. It was definitely Howie. And we need better in that place because, look, one of the reasons we're in trouble is because since 17, we trade for players or we sign free agents. If you go the route with if your offseason consists of not getting rookies that are good and just signing free agents, every free agent that you pay for is going to be more. You're always going to overpay. You're always going to overpay because you got 31 other teams bidding against you. So if my friend's going to sell me a car for $2,500, but then he puts it on the internet and now people are bidding for it, well, now he's going to do me dirty and say, well, someone just offered me $3,000 for this. What happened to $2,500? Well, now he's trying to come up more. So free agency, you're always going to overpay. We have to hit on our draft picks, which we haven't been able to do. We need a guy to get in here and do that for us, or we're in trouble. Simple and plain.
100% agree. And when you go back to the last several years on what we do doing, just totally depending on free agency, there was that time period, I believe it was between the 2017 and 18 draft, where we only just had a total of 9 draft picks there between those 2 drafts. So, we knew that we gave up a lot for the Carson Wentz pick. So we kind of knew that the following draft, we were going to be at a bit of a disadvantage already. And then, however, though, throughout the years, we still made some, the trade for the JHI, giving up some draft picks, a trade for Michael Bennett, giving up some draft picks as well. So we've been actively trading away draft picks. And so now when you limit your draft picks, and again, this goes back to the 2017 and 2018 part where now it looks like it has for sure trickled down on us because of the lack of development, and especially in that draft class, those 2 draft classes that we had to hit. We have to hit on those limited draft picks because if you don't hit on any of those draft picks whatsoever, then you practically don't have a draft at all. And as of right now, Derek Barnett is the only remaining one from that 2017 draft. 2018 draft is what? Devontae Maddox. That's it. Who's still hurt? Andre Dillard on IR. No, Andre Dillard was 2019, excuse me. But 2018, we traded away that first round pick. That's how Ravens got Lamar Jackson. But I'm even trying to remember who came from the 2018 draft. I think it's just Devontae Maddox is all I can think of. That's a bit relevant right now.
Dallas Goedert.
There you go. My fault. But all hurt too. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's really caught up to us. It really has caught up to us. And then now we're asking a lot from the 2020 draft class to kind of make up for the lack of development from the last two drafts. Even 2019, we got Miles Sanders, great, but no sighting of Andrew Dillard, who might not even play a snap for the Eagles because of Jordan Mailata now at this point in time in his development. So you're looking at the Andre Dillard pick, who was a first-round pick, and that's another failure right there. And if I'm Howie Roseman, I mean, it's great that you discovered Jordan Mailata, but it's terrible that you botched a first-round pick. You know what I mean? This gotta try to find a way to handle that situation itself. But it's drafting, man. It's gonna be hard, and definitely gotta figure that out after the season. See who is control of that aspect. Maybe Doug Peterson, hopefully.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Courtney Rogers, who's obviously a Ravens fan, because in his picture, what he said, we need Nathan Gary to play big snaps tomorrow. So shout out for you to come in here and, listen to the podcast a little bit, because, this is an Eagle bias podcast. This is what we do. Philly Talk podcast, been going hard for a year. And we got Darius Dalton, who's, what are you at, like 14K now?
I just hit 14,000 earlier last week. There we go. We're still pushing it. We're still making it happen, man. We're all growing together, bro. We're all growing together. Really do appreciate it.
And so we got 139 people in this live stream. Make sure you smash that like button. It's free, it's easy, and it helps the content grow. I see we got 139, and the last time I looked, we had 51 likes. Come on, guys. Do better than that. How you expect the Eagles to perform if you can't perform on the podcast for us? Definitely get them likes up. And if you haven't subbed to Darius Dalton, is his name. Type it in the search bar when it comes to YouTube, and he will come up, does videos throughout the week, live stream just like we do. All the Eagles content creators, at the end of the day, Eagles got the best content creators. We got multiple content creators. You can get it all different flavors. Everybody comes at it differently. You got guys like Gate City, who's deep into the game film breakdowns. You got guys like Philly 500, who's got the comedy added to it. You got guys like LB, who just brings that swagger. Darius got that West Coast vibe over there doing things. So for late night guys, he's doing a podcast at 9 o'clock at his time. It's 11 over here, but some people can't sleep. Listen to the Eagles, never gets old. And you got me, who I try to be in between, bring a little swag, bring a little craziness. And at the end of the day,
he offers that insight. Come on, don't underestimate yourself, bro. Don't undermine yourself, man. You got Philly Mike on here that be breaking down plays to the bone, man. I be learning some football from you at this point in time, bro. I'm like, you know what? Why is this happening? Let me tune in let me go ahead and check it out, man. You got Philly Mike, who that's some great film studying. That's some hours. That's some blood, sweat, and tears that you're putting into the Philadelphia Eagles, and really doing a deep down observation of what we see on the game days, man. So definitely do appreciate what you do, man. Definitely do appreciate it, man. You offer that great aspect as a content and video maker on what you do. So, gotta go ahead. I'll talk you up, bro. I'll talk you up. I saw you trying to be humble there, and I was like, no. We're gonna boost it up. Let's go.
Hey, thank you. Like I said, the film breakdowns are not fun to do when you're breaking down how bad the Eagles look. So we got to get some good tape in there, because I miss it. Man,
that's what separates yourself, bro. Because when the Eagles lose, I don't even want to watch. I don't even want to touch that team until next week. I don't even want to watch that team. So for you to honestly just sit there and be like, damn, let me watch some bad football, that takes that takes a whole lot of patience. A whole lot of calming, to just sit there and not be like, man, why am I watching this, and just dip on out.
Facts. And like I said, that phantom Brandon Graham face mask, I was looking, man. I didn't see it at all. And it was crazy because I said right there, because I do play-by-plays now as well. I do play-by-plays, and I said, yo, why ain't Fox showing the replay? Like, how you not going to show the replay of a flag? They always do it. I definitely was a huge fan of face masks. I'm going to say this, though. In that Pittsburgh Steelers game, the referees were bad on both sides. We got gifted some stuff, too. But the thing is, our stuff that we got gifted on, we didn't end up scoring on. They got gifted that Darius Slay late call pass interference.
Oh, my God.
Horrible.
That's the part that triggered me, I think, out of all, was just because I'm like, I know it's rare that we don't have a number one corner, and maybe you cannot believe that we actually have someone that's actually locking down these receivers, but also respect Darius Slay as well. There's a reason why he's a well-respected cornerback in the NFL. You got to start giving the benefit of the doubt. And I mean, I do feel like sometimes the NFL does need to like intervene sometimes and just stop the play. Hey, look, we got call from up top. We got call from, headquarters to go over this play. I know they do booth review, quote unquote, but I think that you should involve booth review for ticky-tack calls like that as well. Now, granted, of course, yes, we got gifted some great penalty calls in our favor, which obviously we didn't really execute. Nonetheless, though, I was just like, you know what, fine. So be it. If they gave us a bad call, then, give them a bad call. So that's why I was just like, just wash it out. However, understanding the circumstances, like it could be different. It could be different where, yes, we get gifted a bad call when we're trying to catch up down 31-14, but that first pass interference call on Darius Slay, it's what could set the tone, set the momentum to go up 7-0 on the Philadelphia Eagles. That's the first score of the game. So, I mean, I understand it went both ways, but when it comes down to like particular situations on when it happened, those momentum shifts can definitely, really change things up. So, I hated that Darius Slay one.
Definitely. Shout out to my guy, Vic3, a channel member. And he hit me with the $2 super chat. He said, show the fellas your appreciation. Hit that like button. Yeah, man, at the end of the day, it's free. It's simple. It's easy. It's right there. Click X off the live chat. Smash the like button. Come back in. Let's chop it up. We right around 52 minutes. Shout out to the Ravens fans who are in here. Like I said, they got a good squad. We cannot take any team lightly, let alone the Ravens. We're going to have to be disciplined. We're going to have to bring our A game. Do you think it's going to be a high-scoring game or a low-scoring game?
I think it could be a high-scoring game now at this point in time. I'm just going off of just recent performances by the Philadelphia Eagles. Our offense is getting a little bit more into rhythm. You've seen the emergence of a Travis Fulgham, Miles Sanders as well. And then obviously you got the offense of the Ravens, the former MVP Lamar Jackson. Our defense has so far struggled against more stabilized offenses like the Rams, like the Steelers. They're not the Niners with the backups. They're not the Bengals with the bad offensive line, and they're not, Dwayne Haskins in Washington. So I do see that this could be a game where it's going to be a shootout. You talk about 30-20 kind of vibe, 30-27, 34-24 kind of vibes. It's just going to once again come down to how us controlling their running game, and as always, the turnovers, defining moments. That was obviously the story of last week where that game really got out of hand for us and we had to play comeback. Was that it should have been an illegal contact. Now, I'm kind of mad at Zach Ertz for just kind of flopping his way and just gave up on the play. But I feel like that Carson Wentz interception could have been an illegal contact as well. Could have easily made that a case. But nonetheless, though, it was still an interception, and that's what really separated the game. So it's going to come down to turnovers, man. It's going to come down to turnovers and stopping that running game that the Ravens are going to try to force down our throats.
I agree. Shout out to Mr. Personality for a $1.99 super chat. Here we go. He says Schwartz is a top 10 defensive mind, 28-17 birds. He's about to be sick. Let me give you my take on Jim Schwartz real quick because
speak it into existence. Yeah. I'm for it. There you go.
When it comes to Jim Schwartz, again, I started this channel about a year ago. I was a person who never really gave Jim Schwartz a lot of crap. If you have a talented defensive line, his scheme works where you drop back and play coverage and you blitz forward, but you need your front four to go at it. However, I do believe that Jim Schwartz requires linebackers. That's what his scheme needs. Wherever he is, he needs linebackers. When you play a wide 9, you put a lot of pressure on your linebackers to fill these gaps. So I think Jim Schwartz not having linebackers to his dispense is a problem in this system. However, I need a guy who does more timely blitzes, definitely. So as I was on the Schwartz wagon up there, I watched that game against the Steelers. It was not good. Jim Schwartz put these guys in bad situations. I'm not even talking about the talent, to the teaching the talent, like Darius said. Rasul Douglas is playing good. Cindy Jones is playing good. But when it comes to his scheme, I think Jim Schwartz is solid, but he's losing me. He's losing me. When it comes to some of the things I see him do, I never liked his sticks defense. Never, ever, ever. It doesn't make sense because what happens is you throw a screen, you get so many guys able to go up there and block the guys who are at the sticks. It never made sense. But Jim Schwartz is losing me. I'm not going to lie. He's definitely losing me. And I will say, though, in his system, if you play Y9, you need linebackers, and he doesn't have it. So I think this week everybody was taking shots at everybody. Jim Schwartz was like, hey, we didn't invest money in the linebacker position, but hey, I'm not in charge who dresses. So he's probably pretty much saying, this is all I can do with what I got. And let's be honest, big play Slay is good, but where's the other secondary? Will Parks is going to add value to this team. I want to see how we play with him there. Look, linebackers, suspect. Every corner on our team not named big play, suspect. So, again, I like – when I was talking about this defense in the offseason, I talked there's question marks. There could be good question marks or bad. Right now, it looks like they're more bad than good. Nathan Gary, who was a cover guy, just forgot how to cover because, again, he led our team in 2 interceptions last year. He's an ex-safety from Nebraska. He should be covering better. I think he put all his time into learning how to tackle. He forgot how to cover because he's been horrendous. But at this point, it's Jim Schwartz. Get him out. Unless Howie Roseman's not allowing him to get him out. And so that's where, listen, this organization from the top is kind of dysfunctional. We have to start there before we can fix anything on the field. So that's my take on Jim Schwartz. I just wanted to get it out there because I was a supporter last year. He's definitely losing me because I'm watching things unfold that just it shouldn't have happened that way.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree. There was a particular play that also happened this last Sunday against the Steelers. It was like 3rd and 11. It was 3rd and 11, and it was a touchdown drive by the Steelers. And we had him in a 3rd 11 position. I think it was a quick pass, and Darius Slay was playing like 15 yards off. It was a quick pass, and he got the first down. It was so unnecessary on how far Darius Slay was playing off. And I'm like,
that's the play I used in my breakdown. Yeah, man, that was horrible on a 3rd down, 3rd and 11.
And that led to a touchdown drive there. And I'm like, these are the kind of moments that could it can mentally drain a defense when you're thinking, okay, we're going to get off the field. Your offense, all right, 3rd and 11, let's start preparing to, jump into the next series, those kind of stuff. And the Steelers just had their way with the defense for the rest of that drive. Those kind of moments right then and there, they literally could really change the momentum of the games. And that 3rd and 11 really ticked me off. And I've always been weary on Jim Schwartz in a way. I felt like I've given him the benefit of the doubt a lot of times. And I mean, yes, he has established, we've always been known to be a top run defense in the to now prioritize being a top run defense. I mean, sure, you need to still have some interior, linemen and linebackers to still put up a solid run defensive kind of game. Nonetheless, though, in a passing league where teams are starting to now pass more and more as the years progress, you're going to start seeing the first 5 weeks of the NFL was what the most points put up in NFL history after the first 5 weeks. So it's clearly a passing league. You got the Russell Wilson's going crazy, breaking records. You got the Patrick Mahomes breaking records. So it's like now we have to start adapting now. I get it. We're a great run defense kind of team, but let's start evolving, Jim. And so far, it seems like he's not able to really truly evolve. And this has been the kind of same defense that we've been watching for the last several years now.
Oh, yeah. Let me add on to that real quick. Shout out to my guy, Philly, the podcast. He said, I'm putting $500 on the Eagles. Listen, if they win, you're going to get paid. Let me just tell you that. I think we're 7-point underdogs. I think it's a plus 300, plus 280. That would be crazy. But Real quick, shout out to Let's Go Birds. He said he's going to sub up Darius Dalton. Definitely, like I said, if you're in here and you haven't done it already, smash that like button. It's simple, it's free, it's easy. And if you're new to the Philly Talk podcast, hit that subscribe button. We do live stream regular videos. We keep it popping over here. And definitely check out my guy Darius Dalton. Watch one video, and I promise you won't leave without hitting the subscribe button. Definitely got great insight. And again, he's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows. He lets the team have it when they need to have it. And that's how Philly fans are. We definitely hold our team accountable. Shout out.
Really do appreciate it. And I mean, that's one thing. That's one thing going to give you guys a heads up, man. I'm a reactionary kind of fan. One week you are going to see me praise this team. The next week you're going to see me bash this team. I am a reactionary fan. I am that typical fan that you guys will go ahead and see if you guys do tune in. But hey, look, that's what the Eagles do to me. That's the Eagles do to us. All right, look, it's the middle of a Saturday. It's what, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're sitting here talking about the Birds and what the hell's going to happen tomorrow. And I mean, I guess like we could do that. We could go ahead and what the hell's going to happen tomorrow, Philly Mike? What's going to happen tomorrow? You let me know.
All right, let's talk about it. Shout out to Nina, supporter to all Eagles content. She said, hey, guys, how long you been on? We've been on for right around an hour. We just hit the hour mark. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about this, take some questions, and then, go enjoy our Saturdays. Hope all you guys enjoy your Saturdays as well. But Darius just asked me, what's going to happen tomorrow? And so I'm going to give it from the biased Eagles fan, but I'm going to tell you, if we win, this is how we win. Definitely got to slow down Lamar Jackson, make him pass. I don't care if you have one-on-one matchups out there with corners who get beat. At this point, you can even let Jalen Mills go one-on-one and say, hey, one-on-one, Jalen Mills is tempting. Let Lamar throw it, because I'd rather him throw the ball one-on-one with Jalen Mills, which is still scary, don't get me wrong, than him pulling the ball back and running on our defense, So we haven't been great with running quarterbacks, and our linebacker core only got even worse. So one-on-one with Jalen Mills is scary, but at this point, it's probably the best route we can go, because Lamar hasn't been the most accurate passer. When you force him to pass, now the Chiefs have the way the Chiefs played Lamar was interesting. They also have an offense that's high powered. So they were like, okay, if we go man to man with our corners, which their corners are not good either. If we get beat for a big play, who cares? We'll come back on offense and score. Maybe the Eagles can do it, maybe not. Our offense is not the Kansas City Chiefs. But I will say this, when they played him man and blitzed him, he got frustrated. He messed up. And I've seen a couple Baltimore Ravens games. I watched a lot of them over this week to try to get a study on them. Lamar Jackson hasn't been running as much as he normally does from the pocket. When I'm saying if it's a design run, of course he's going to run. But he hasn't been dropping back and just not seeing nothing and running. He's been holding the ball back there, waiting for a pass to come. The Eagles tend to do good against that. We sacked Russell Wilson a couple times last year, who's a scrambler. Of course, L-Jack is the best of the best. He got that Michael Vick experience, really, if you want to talk about it like that. But I will say this. The Eagles D-line does well against them, people who hold the ball, any quarterback that holds the ball, because, we get at the quarterback with that. Now, Big Ben is a guy who normally holds the ball, but last week they saw the scouting report and he got the ball out of his hands fast. You can't expect your D-line to get sacks if the ball's out in 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. These slants and these crossing routes were killing us. Now, when you just watch the game, you're like, wow, the defensive line stinks. They can't get pressure. They get the ball out their hands. If the cornerbacks play better, the quarterback got to hold the ball a little longer, and that's how the D-line eat. We're going to need the D-line not only to eat, but keep containment. If these linebackers and D-line keep looking in the backfield, it's going to be a long day. But I got the Eagles winning 27-24 in a close one.
All right, definitely. That's definitely a good observation when it comes to the defensive side and the way you're just breaking it down. And I'm just like, I hope this gets through to Jim Schwartz's head. Like, the way you're just breaking it down is like, can Jim Schwartz, can he legitimately like just understand what has worked against our defense this year, knowing that, okay, well, we're going up against another smart-minded head coach, another MVP quarterback. Let's see, can we switch things up a bit? We don't like to blitz that much. We got to start blitzing. Pressure Lamar Jackson. I mean, make him try to force some ill-advised throws for us, start creating some turnovers. Offensively, it's going to be definitely interesting to see how our offense is going to compete. I know Marlon Humphrey, a dog. Marlon Humphrey is going to be a dog regardless. And you're going to see how he matches up against Travis Fulgham. That will be interesting. If I assume that he's going to be covering Travis Fulgham at this point in time. If not, Marcus Peters as well. Ravens, so they do have some talent. Not some talent, but they have great talent at cornerbacks. Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey. Who am I kidding? But I mean, they're vulnerable. Obviously, we've seen what Kansas City can do, but that's Kansas City we're talking about. And it's to say that at this point in time we're looking like them is definitely a reach. So how can we now be able to compete? Because I do think that it's going to be rather a shootout. Obviously we got the basics out the way of really just trying to contain that run, force Lamar to throw, and no turnovers. So as far as what we can do for a game plan here, try to get that running game going, still force that running game. You see Miles Sanders, he could break away at any point in time. He's proven to shown that throughout his career. The run against the Buffalo Bills last year, I remember against Washington, in Washington in December last year as well. He had a big breakaway run as well. And then obviously last week against the Steelers, 75-yard touchdown run. Now, granted, I know that we didn't get nothing else out of him after that. I believe that the rest, take away that 75 yards, it was like 10 carries for like 5 yards, but you got to try to find a way to design these runs. I know that Miles Sanders, he's more of an off-tackle kind of running back, which makes sense. I mean, that's his style. Then that's where – and this is where it gets interesting, because I'm just like, if you realize that you're not able to run up the gut with, you know, the Corey Clements, and obviously not Boston Scott, he's not physically built and physically capable enough to really be an up the cut kind of running back, then, I mean, where's someone like an Elijah Holyfield that could offer that for us if Corey Clement is still kind of banged up and you can't commit to him on that? I want to see us start punching teams in the mouth with that running game. You have a big breakaway running back with Miles Sanders, and then you get a physical back that could just run up the gut, get you about a good 2-3 solid yards, keep the defense honest, and then that could start opening up the passing game a little bit more. Any type of leverage that we can to open up the passing game for Carson Wentz is what we're going to still need, especially when we still have several guys that's still banged up right now. Zach Ertz, man, come on. I mean, if you're mentally checked out, then let us know so then we can just go ahead and ship you out. Because if we're still going to be getting the Zach Ertz here, from what we saw the last several weeks, it's going to be a detriment, because that's taking away the middle of our field. That's taking away that dependency that we've relied on Zach Ertz, and that drastically changes our game plan. He's a huge part of our game plan, and if he's not out there looking like Zach Ertz, it holds back our offense still as well. See more Travis Fulgham, Travi F. Let's see what we can go ahead and get out of our guy, TF13. I think that's we're all kind of just excited and anticipating to see more Travis Fulgham this week. So if we can start seeing some more plays and more highlights, knowing that, yes, this is the guy. Great. Greg Ward as well. And then I'm honestly going to give John Hightower the benefit of the doubt. I was looking over some film breakdown from, I forgot my guy on Twitter. What was his name? Thomas. Someone broke down John Hightower's route running. The dude... It's so hard because, yes, I feel like he made a rookie mistake and mistimed that Carson Wentz jump in the way he was trying to catch the ball rather than being aggressive and jump up and catch it at the highest point that you possibly can. Obviously, yes, and I have to sit back and realize that this is right now a day 3 rookie that's going out there that's trying to play with no mini camp, like a day 3 rookie that we're anticipating. I can't expect too much, but each week I still see encouraging route running from John Hightower. The dude, he's legitimately an efficient route runner now. It's just a matter of executing it. I do think that Carson Wentz will have a better passing game as well. Even though we're going Marlon Humphrey, but I do think that the Ravens, they get pretty vulnerable through the passing game. It's going to be tough, man, but pretty much what I'm just trying to say here, the way I emphasize running the football and passing them, you got to have a balanced offense. You got to keep a balanced offense against the Ravens, make them reliable. That will be able to sustain some drives, keep that offense, and keep Lamar Jackson off the field, and I'll play into our favors. Speaking on a biased Eagles standpoint, I got to be biased every single time, man. I got to. Here we go. I'll say 31-27 Birds.
I love it.
Unfortunately, I don't like to do this, but it's so It's the fan in me that's like, no, Darius,
Yeah.
no, believe.
Got to. And it is like any given Sunday, there really is like
It is.
Yeah.
It's the NFL.
But see, here's the thing. There's a difference in how you say it. There's games that I go in like, listen, we're better than this team. We could beat them. And then there's the games that we go into like, I'm just going to use the motto any given Sunday. That right there goes to show you how you really feel about it. Because at the end of the day, we're Eagle fans, and I love them, and I'm going to take them no matter what. But I'm not going to put my wallet on it most of the time. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, like $500. Shout out to that.
Yeah,
man, $500. That's pretty heavy, bro. That's heavy bread. But hey, look, everybody uses their money, how they want to use it. I'm not going to go ahead and talk too much about that. But that's bold. That's bold.
And that is definitely. Shout out to Angry Joker with the $4.99 super chat. All he said was, "Let's go." As I'm reading his mind, and he's saying, "Let's go, let's get this." Now, listen, we're right around an hour and 10 minutes. We did everything. Shout out to everybody who's watching. We got 82 likes. Come on, we got a $1.18 in here. Let's get us up to 100. Let's get to 100 likes. We're 18 away. I know there's at least 18 of you in here who haven't hit that. Go ahead and do that for your guy. Shout out to Angry Joker one more time with another $4.99 super chat. He said, "This time I'm going to say something." Dang, this guest has a beautiful voice. Love you, Mike. Thoughts on the running back trade? I think it was Bell. This is Hannibal. Shout out to you. Loving his beautiful voice. And shout out to, he's like, "Thank you very much." I will say this. Bell's a Kansas City Chief now, and I don't see the Eagles getting a running back. If anything, they'll possibly bring somebody up from the practice squad, but I don't see them getting. And go ahead, Darius. I know you want to talk about that because you big on that.
Oh, okay. So I'm kind of trying to figure out how the buyouts would work when you release a player during that kind of time. And in my point in time, I do think that what works with our offense is having another running back set in there. And that's what we had last year with Boston Scott. He clearly regressed this year, a couple years back. We tried to force it with Clement and Jay Ajayi. They unfortunately both got hurt in 2018. But 2017, we know about the Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount. So I felt like that move would have made sense, especially if Le'Veon Bell was going to be cheap. I think the Chiefs are only paying him $1 million this year. And I'm like, look, we caved into giving Jason Peters a raise. We brought back Vinny Curry, paying him, $3-4 million or something like that. For Le'Veon Bell, you know the running game right now with Doug Peterson. Unfortunately, I don't think that, even though he says that, we have a 3-down back in Miles Sanders, Doug Peterson, you're not fooling me. I've watched you coach for the last 4 years. You love your running back by committee offense, okay? It's going to be rare that Miles Sanders will get over 20 game, and I've just come to that acceptance. And that it's unfortunate that I've accepted it, but that's just how Doug Peterson is. We've watched this coach for over 5 years now at this point in time, and that's just his offensive design. So if that's the case, then I understand that maybe it was a head case at this point, but if it was anything to really just get something going, anything to just get something different, if he was going to be $1 million, we gave Jason Peters a raise. We were paying Vinny Curry $3 million. Le'Veon Bell was $1 million.
Yeah. And people really think he's done. I don't think so. I think Adam Gase, who never really wanted him, he didn't want him in the first place. When you're a head coach and your GM brings somebody in that you don't want, you're always going to just bleh. And that's what it was. But shout out to Sexy Vegan. He said, "Who are you streaming with, Philly Mike? Go ahead and introduce yourself for a guy like Sexy Vegan and let them know where they can find you on your own YouTube channel."
There you go, right here. Darius Dalton. Go ahead, sub up to my channel. Darius Dalton, been on here for over 5 years now, talking birds, looking to continue to grow here. Just trying to go ahead and collab myself with more Philly fans. Me and Philly Mike. Now it's our third time doing a Saturday stream, which we want to try to do it as much as we possibly can. We see everybody that tunes into the stream, and we always do appreciate all the comments down below, and we do our best to interact and engage with you guys as well. So yeah, sub me up, Darius Dalton, another Eagles content video maker as well, and then just talk about multiple, a lot of sports reactions as well, just throughout my channel and throughout time that I come on here. And whenever there's a big time sports event that happens, I like to come on and talk about it with you guys. But we're always at the end of the day talking about the birds. It could be like it could be a Thursday night game between the Dolphins and the Jaguars, and I'll be on watching the game, and guess what? We all come on and we talk birds. That's just at the end of that. That's just what it's all about. So sub up if you haven't. Thank you.
That is straight facts. Yeah. So North Philly Nitty earlier said he's gonna sub you up. So yeah, definitely. Like I said, he's been doing this for 5 years. West Coast guy, keeping it fresh with the Eagles. So for the late night guys who are like, dang, it's like 11 o'clock, but I could definitely get some Eagle news. He'll be streaming sometimes because it's 9 o'clock over where he is, 11 o'clock or 8 o'clock where he is, 11 o'clock where you at. So. Shout out to that. Nina says 27-23. Go ahead. Before we end this, I got 2 requests from you guys in the chat. 1, throw down your score predictions in the chat. I'm going to read them all off real quick before we get out of here. Still got 102 people in the building, and we're at 95 likes. So I need 5 more of you guys to just hit that like button. Come on, 5 more. Shout out to Jersey Boy with the $5 super chat, a channel member in the building. New era begins now. Let the young guys play. Close game as usual. We put out the W. 24-20 Go Birds, which is his podcast. He has a podcast that literally is just called, as always, Go Birds. You can see his shirt. Short, sweet, simple. Go Birds. Might have to cop me one of them when he gets his merch out. I'm actually in the process of doing merch too, but the coronavirus kind of messed me up. But that shirt right there, it's short, sweet, and simple, and I like it. I like it. I don't like too much extra stuff. I like it to be short, sweet, and simple. And for those who like to listen to stuff on like Stitcher and all that stuff, go ahead and tell them what your podcast is called and where they can find you on that as well.
All right, so it's on Believe Sports Podcast. Great network, great podcast network. We have a variety of NFL fans on there, just like myself, that's on there doing podcasts about their own teams. So I like to hear other fan bases talk about the team. So that's why I do check out that network, Believe Sports Podcast. I leave the link into my channel up top. You'll see the logos should be having a B logo. You just click on it, and that'll go straight to my podcast. If you guys want to go ahead and check it out, I do live shows. I do live stream my podcast. So just during the shows, which I'm going to start changing away the format because we do have people that tune in for the whole entire show, which I'm so grateful for. It's about a 45 to an hour show. And for the most part, I am monologuing, just talking about the birds, rarely getting to the comments. But towards the end of the show, I start involving the comments from the YouTube chat that I answer during the show. So you get to go ahead and hear it. However, though, I think I am looking to start favoring the comment section more because it is so active and live during each stream that I am recording my podcast that it would just, why not make everybody involved in it? Probably talk about the birds for about a good 10 minutes of just my own thoughts. And then we'll just go ahead and just make everybody take over. We're just going to take over. Great show to check out. Do tune in. Would definitely appreciate it. Like I said, if you want to just try it out, then for sure. Usually Tuesday nights is when I do my recording on the live stream. And then if you want to go ahead and hear your name being involved, you see yourself in the show or hear yourself in the show, or me shouting you out in the show, not necessarily that, but you get the message. Yeah. Just do check it out. Would greatly appreciate it, man. I Believe Sports Podcast. As always, go Birds.
Definitely check that out. And that's actually a good idea because, you sometimes a podcast after an hour can get repetitive. So if you straight get that first 10, 15 minutes out, and I think it's not many people do that. You got a lot of people out there who have like the Apple podcast and stuff, and it's all their take. If you implement the chat during the podcast, that can definitely be something different and interesting to say the least.
Absolutely. And I mean, everybody, it's what's unique, what's fascinating is that we all, even though it's the same team that we root for, it's literally different opinions for almost everything. It's going to be hard to fully 100% agree with the fan. Starting off the year, we're going back and forth, which I'm crowing to you because we're going with the whole Ertz Goddard situation. As much as I agree with everything that you would say, that was one thing that we were just talking about back and forth. But that one, I actually kind of have to wave the white flag for that because I've had enough with that. But it just honestly goes to show you that how many voices are out there when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles and opinions that allows me to even start becoming more open-minded. Before I'll just kind of just be stubborn with my own ways. But a lot of fans will just go ahead and start making me look towards another direction, saying, okay, well, I can see why that would make sense. So that's why I'm looking to involve more fans in the stream when it comes to it.
I agree. So we're going to read these off real quick. And then we're going to say our last piece and be out. So we got 28-17. We got 45-20. The Ravens winning. We got 30-24 Eagles, 19-11 Ravens, 14-17. I believe he's going to say Eagles since he didn't say nothing. 48-6 Eagles win. 27-23.
Let's go.
I know. I love it. 27-23 Schwartz will be carried off the field. MVP. Oh, my God. The Gatorade gets poured on him this early in the season. Ravens 47-7.
Sheesh.
I know. The God said 26-23 Eagles. Dr. Philly said 34-23 Ravens.
Honestly, it really looked like pretty realistic there.
Von Talks Podcast 34-31 Eagles. 38-37 Eagles. That would make me. That's going to have me on the edge of my seat like that.
I'll have to go to the hospital.
Right. My prediction is 21-14 Birds. 24-17. 35 Nathan Gary 0. That's it. And 35 against the Nathan Garys, the Philadelphia Garys. Just
pretty much at this point in time, that's what it is.
Oh man. So we do a couple more of these. 38-30 Eagles, 36-28 Eagles, 24-20 Eagles, Ravens 30, Eagles 17. Hate to say it, but keeping it real. I hope he's dead. He said, I hope I'm dead wrong. I agree with you. Sexy Vegan said, my dad's pitching in with a 34-13 Raven.
Ouch.
Dad's giving you the realistic take. That hurts. He said, why are we so confident? LOL, like, what the heck did our Eagles show us? Did I miss? That's pretty much why you didn't miss nothing, because we're not confident. This podcast was pretty much, if the Eagles win, this is how we do it. And that's why it starts with, if the Eagles win, and this thing is about possibly an upset, because right now we all know the Ravens are the better team. You can't look at this team and think it's better than the Ravens, or we must be watching with Eagle shades, which we all do. We all do. So shout out to everybody. My guy Cass goes at 31-20 Eagles. They're still coming in. If I missed your score prediction, my bad. They're just flying in here now. But yeah, hour and 22 minutes. Nice podcast. Like I said, we're going to make an effort to do this every Saturday, win, lose, or draw. And we definitely got to say draw, because the Eagles have a tie on the record. Normally, you just say win, lose, draw, and that's just the words, but it's legit when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. He said, Jalen said, dang, everybody's optimistic.
You know, it's funny about that, because he was like, what did I miss? Like, how you guys are so confident. We spent this whole entire hour and a half just bashed on the Eagles, but we're saying, nope, we're going to win. Yeah. That's just what it was.
Yeah. The Eagles can't cover. Jalen Mills is garbage. Nathan Gary's garbage. Jim Schwartz scheme's bad. The offense, sometimes sputters, but the Eagles are going to win.
They're going to win. That's just how it works. Okay. That's just how it works. I've been a fan of this team now for damn near 20 years at this point in time. There's a lot of stuff that does not make sense when it comes to this organization. I look at last year as a prime example, 1-2, losing back-to-back games, going into an undefeated Aaron Rodgers Lambeau Field. I'm 1-3 in my head. You know what I mean? This is just what this team will do to you. And it would not make sense. You'll just accept it and then just move on with it. So that's why I'm just like, you know what? I can never count out this damn team.
Hey, Reds 215 Eagles Philly said, I rock with Darius. He makes sense with his opinions. Yeah, like I said, he just said on here that he's going to give it to him. But like he says, we all know the reality of the Eagles right now. The best word to use is inconsistent. From the field play, from the coaching staff to the upper management, it's totally inconsistent. However, it was our best offensive performance against the Steelers, against a good defense. And I got to stay optimistic, because that's what we do as fans. But I always end it like this. There's games I go into where I'm like, the Eagles should win. Or there's been years in the past where you go into the game like, the Eagles are going to win this. We're the better team. I'm ready to bet money on it. And there's games like this where you just got to hang on to the saying every given Sunday. That's the thing you got to hang on to, because it's one of these games where we're underdogs. We're not better than the Ravens. And I just got to hang on to any given Sunday and a lot of liquor. So that's pretty much it.
I got cleared from my doctor that I can go ahead and start drinking again. So, well, he doesn't advise me to, but he says that your kidneys are in good condition. So I'm like, oh, you know what that means.
But real quick, let's get to the sexy vegan stuff. What would you do if Nate Gary gets a game-winning strip for a touchdown?
Oh my God. That would, I think it would literally, I think first off, the city would explode.
Yeah.
Secondly, it would probably be like a Nelson Aguilar situation where it's like 2017. We spent the first 2 years of just bashing Nelson Aguilar, but hey, look, he finally played good. We're gonna have your back. That's just what it is. We're Eagles fans. We're gonna forget for that point in time
for that.
Exactly. We're going to forget for a couple of days, and we'll start giving you the benefit of the doubt. Oh, well, maybe this is a turning point that he needed to go ahead and start playing good. You know what I mean? Like, we'll start coming up. We'll start giving you the benefit of the doubt once you start showcasing them playing well for us and the fans. So that's just how it is. That's just how our opinions are. We're very opinionated. We're very reactionary, and that's just what it is. That's why you got to love us.
Definitely. Hey, as an Eagle fan, there's no in between. We either love you or we hate you.
Yep.
Simple and plain. Like I said, shout out to everybody. We were at 95 likes. I'm just going to assume we got to 100. If not, appreciate you guys anyway. We still got 90 people in here. We about to sign off. Give us your last thought on this game and or just on the Eagles in general.
All right. I like to see fight. That's it. I just want to see fight with this organization. Last week, was I expecting a loss? I mean, sure, that loss is in my head. You're going to Pittsburgh 3-0, but I was still happy that I saw a fight, them putting up a fight. Of course, we never want to see them lose, and we're going to be upset when they lose. But let me still respect you by going out there, playing your ass off, putting up a fight. We lose to Baltimore tomorrow, 30-20. At least we made it interesting for about 3 quarters there, and some unfortunate events that possibly have happened. So be it. But at least I saw effort from start to finish, regardless of the outcome. That's all I want to see.
I agree. Like I said in my preview, smash that like button if you think the Eagles can upset or at least keep it close, because that would make me happy as well, because we know Baltimore is a Super Bowl contender. So if we could keep it close, then you still got signs that this is a weak division. And yes, I would still like to win the NFC least, for the simple fact we got a guy who's on Darius' side and Carson Wentz that could use any and every experience in the playoffs. Simple and plain. So shout out to all you guys. Like I said, if you haven't checked my Eagles versus Ravens preview, it's out there. I dropped it later yesterday. Like I said, my previews normally come on Thursday. I was a day late with everything. My breakdowns against the opponent team comes out on Tuesday. The previews would normally come out on Thursday. I was a day late, but some good stuff in there. Some stuff that I haven't talked about, really break down the Eagles offense versus the Ravens defense and vice versa, and a couple plays from the Lamar Jackson Ravens. So with all that being said, we will be doing this again next Saturday, and appreciate you guys for tuning in.
All right. Really do appreciate everybody tuning in, man. Really, again, it's always great talks on here. We'll get back on it. We'll talk obviously throughout the week. And then, hopefully next Saturday, man, we are talking about going on a 2-game winning streak. Let's get this thing going, man. Let's do this tomorrow. Let's go, Birds.
Let's go, Birds. As always, I'm going to take care. I'm going to copyright your saying, as always, go Birds. Until next time, you guys know what time. Hold up real quick. Breaking news. Dak Prescott was just arrested for going 15 at 10 miles. What? That's messed up. With the little, we gotta be nice to Dak. Listen, I don't like the Cowboys, and they gave us the wheelchair Wentz stuff. But I'm just going to show that, just some little respect and say, look, injuries in the NFL are tough. Hey, get better, Dak. But I don't like the Cowboys still. So shout out to you guys. Until next time, you guys know what time.